GardenSLUG. I'm here to give a walk around of our table at Greenberg Great Train and Toy Show on November 27th and 28th, 2021. Just my own thing I like to do for every couple shows of trying to walk around and get to see what everybody put together for their own tables, not just my stuff. But I will start off my area because I'm the front face of it, basically. I say that jokingly because it just happens to be where the banner is, and we are towards the back section of the NJ Expo Center. So that's one of the first areas that would be seen, just by chance, but still good here. So I'm gonna start at my table. If you've seen some of the other displays and mocks that I've had, it's very familiar. I don't know what happened with one of the cards though. I did have one here, but I guess it wandered off. I know it's around here somewhere. I was trying to look for the card that I had on the front because I just noticed now it's missing. It's not on the floor.
Don't see it there.
Huh.
What are we looking for?
Well, it's supposed to look like the other mock cards.
Oh, okay, so it's a piece of paper.
Yeah. I mean, I could always print it again later. I just realized now that it's disappeared.
It slid underneath something.
Probably just brushed off the table.
Yeah. Not underneath there.
No. I wouldn't think that somebody grabbed it.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Or have a reason to.
Well, maybe when we tear down, it'll pop up underneath something.
Yeah. Again, if not, I could print it later. So at least I still have it saved.
It's not like it's a $300 card.
Right.
Which, considering it's Lego, it might be.
Well,
some pieces are.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Good thing this one isn't.
Yeah.
Like, no, I didn't even have to pay for the paper and ink because it was at Brick Fair.
Yeah.
They just printed them for us. All
We
right.
got rid of our color printer since we usually just use black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to go out and buy a color printer.
All right. So with that out of the way, yeah, I literally just noticed that now, but I know it's been here throughout the weekend and probably just wandered off by accident. It's no big deal. I can always print it later. But to clarify what this is a microscale version of the set 5956 Expedition Balloon from Adventurers, in case anybody was curious about that and didn't see the card anytime before that. I built this early 2020 and basically tried to replicate the balloon in a microscale. Unfortunately, with my copy of it, with this whole setup, there is a piece missing. And it's been missing for a couple shows. I'm still trying to find it at home. I haven't found it in any of the display bins, so I'm not sure what happened to that. But the only thing I improved here is that I added some extra stands underneath the minifigures to make them easier to stand up on the table. And I'd say it looks pretty good. Pretty well set up. I'll have to find that piece sometime later. The unfortunate thing about it, it's light gray, and it's mostly from Classic Space if I remember correctly. So that might be a hard one to replace. Don't think I have that naturally in my collection that much. But usually the setup that I have, I'll keep all the sculptures together, followed by vignettes. Yes, I do have a third vignette technically, but I didn't bring it up for the show, just didn't feel appropriate for it. And I covered enough space on the table without it. I do also have a couple other mocks I didn't display for this time at the show because, again, I knew it wasn't really necessary. Nothing new from this time, nothing really changed about any of the displays. I've had these for many shows for many years, but they're good, reliable stuff. The only thing I could think of that changed is that my sig fig is sitting outside of the tennis court. And not much else. I think everything else is... That's the other good thing. They're not only about reliability, like I know what to expect out of them, but they come to the shows, everything intact or in the same bin, like very little will change. It literally takes me minutes to set up the whole display. Although I did notice that when I last rebuilt the glass slipper, there's one or two pieces I have to adjust, but this looks fine. It's actually the better side of it just by chance. So from there, I'm going to move over to the Winter Village, which is set up by Jen and Jenny. And they do this at every fall, winter Greenberg show that we have. So having all different kinds of Winter Village sets, some of them modified, some of them recolored, and expanding upon it. So the Holiday Train is the old version of it from, I think, 2006 or so. And then we even have some Winter Village sets in here, such as the fire station, the toy shop, the bakery, the post office, the train station, which is modified. There's a couple of the houses that are technically all the same thing, but a couple things changed around, which is very nice. This is the original Winter Village cottage. Then there's a modified version where it's flipped around, almost mirrored, and colors changed. And another version of it where it's colors changed. There's also a couple of custom buildings in here as well. And they fit pretty nicely with what already exists. There's also a tree farm towards the back. A couple of the odds and ends from different Winter Village sets. And I also wanted to highlight for a moment, we even have Olaf in here. And there's a VIP set. I think it's a VIP set on here. I have that one as well at home. The train does run up to the station, but it does have to enter it very slowly, especially considering the electric 9-volt track. I haven't gotten any snow yet, but I also haven't looked outside, so I hope I don't have any snow yet. But I have heard some people in the state have it. Normally there would be another Duplo display by another member of the group, Beth, who wasn't able to make the show, but did have still a couple of things brought along with Jen. So these are some of the winter themed stuff carrying over. With this one based on one of the Mickey Mouse houses that came out a couple years ago, I think. It's got a winter theme to it. And then this is a combination of, I think, 2 different Frozen sets that both feature Elsa, Anna, and Olaf. Next up, we have Andy's displays with the different versions of Unikitty built as giant sculptures. So starting off with a Christmas-themed one. We also have a Minecraft anatomy that he made in here, which is still a really cool model, in my opinion. Having the TNT working all the way around. And then making a creeper version for Unikitty here. Next up is a Halloween-themed one. He did say he wants to change up a few parts of this one so that it's a little better sculpted. And this one is also meant to light up, but it's not lighting for this show, which is fine. And we've got Unikitty as a Batman. And then a classic space Unikitty. And alongside that is a ship in a bottle, which features some classic spacemen in here. As we bring things around, we've got Owl set up, which is practically this whole quarter of the display area. He's got a lot of trains, and always good to have those with the show. The first item here, before we get to the trains, is the St. Burton Labyrinth, which is a very cool maze. Very nice pattern. This has been a good staple of Owl's setup. It's a giant lighthouse. And this one this time featuring one of the hidden side lighthouse keepers. And it does actually light up. Very cool technique with it. For this show, he's also brought along a basic setup for the monorail track, so you can actually see that it actually works. People are actually very curious. They've sometimes never seen the Lego train, so it's cool to bring this one out. And then we'll bring things over to our two towns, which have a large oval city set up around it for the track, full of custom buildings from different members. Some buildings also modified from the modular system, sometimes changing colors or styles. And they do also wrap around in the back as well. The masked train you saw in the beginning is actually using power functions, and the Horizon Express on this track is using 9-volt. There's also another cargo train that can replace the Maersk if need be.
The French TGV.
You got it. You know better about trains than I do.
Yeah, because that train is from the companies of the SNCF.
Mm-hmm. Sorry to get in the way of your recording.
No, that's okay. That's all right.
All right.
It's just, it's just that most people don't even know and everything else. People say like, oh, what's a train like that doing here in, and they don't even know, they don't even know what type of train that is. That happens to begin with.
Yeah.
Well, I know the train, so I have no problem.
Like, I recognized it, but I couldn't think of the name for it.
It's the French TGV. It's the French TGV.
Got it.
Let's see, like French Grand Vanessa, which in French means the world's fastest train.
There you go. We'll just swap around. All right. Next up on this table, we have Rob's setup, also featuring some items that were made by his family.
There's a method to the madness. But if you want to pull all these white tops and put them on the center table, that would be awesome.
So a lot of the ones here are featured on different books or library. And then some of the ones that he's built here. We have Cask of Amontillado for some classic literature. Then we have The Old Man and the Sea. I kid you not, that's probably one of my least favorite books I've ever read. But this is a great setup. Then we have an expansion of the A Christmas Carol Give with Purchase, making an entire Christmas village out of it. There's a lot of cool things to look at all the way through. Love the little shutters on the windows. And the stonework on that building is cool too. Next up, Rob built the Captain America as seen in Marvel's What If series, as if he was a zombie. And then last up of Rob's display, we have a volleyball court featuring the Looney Tunes. Not every Looney Tunes character is here, but I'm sure you can pick out which ones are. And pretty nicely done. Some good spacing between the field itself and the stands. I like the little watchtower in the back. I like the railings, especially for the bleachers themselves. Okay. And from there, we'll move on to, last but not least, Christina's displays. She works a lot with mosaics, so this time around, she's got many of them, and I can't recognize them all, but I'm sure you can add them in the comments down below. This one stumped me. I wasn't sure which. I recognize this one, but I don't know the names. Bonus points if you can guess what the sprites are based on. Earlier I was trying to guess what every cereal mascot was on here, and only one I didn't get right away. It took me a bit, but at least I knew it, but I didn't know what the name of the cereal was. Well, now I know. So there we have it. We're ready to wrap things up from this show this weekend. Probably one of the last shows I'll be at displaying this year, and looking forward to next year. For Philly Brickfest is going to be arriving in New Jersey in April, and it'll be at this convention center. Go figure. So I'm well acquainted with it. Home base for me in Edison, New Jersey, and I'll have a good turnout next time. I think this is a good turnout this time. It's a clear idea of where everything was, and they had 4 trains going at the same time, which is pretty cool. I even brought up a backup train motor just in case for one of the other trains. So as for now, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you all later.